Hello and welcome to Nation Fan TV. Today we have a very interesting show for you guys. We have a very interesting show starting with talking about Elias Mokwana. We have the latest update about him. We're also going to talk about the 4 things that you must know. Yeah, that's a definite title for YouTube. 4 things that you must know about Kaizer Chiefs based on what we learned from this weekend when Kaizer Chiefs won yet another one of their wooden cups. But a win is a win, because if we had lost, people were going to talk nonsense and say things that they want to say. But anyways, we are going to talk about those things, so stay tuned. And as you are joining the video as well, do make sure that you smash that like button, do make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and do all of those good things. Hello and welcome to Nation Fan TV. I am Pelo, I am your host, and this is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs. Amakosi Football Club. Indeed. So, what are we talking about today? Umazola Mlefe, where SABC News, SABC Sport actually, has come out and reported this whole saga ska Elias Mokwana, because you will remember that there was this whole thing that Elias Mokwana might actually leave his team because they had breached the contract, right? So that was the story going into the second game of Bafana Bafana. Well, you're not gonna like this if you are looking at Kaizer Chiefs signing the player, because now what has essentially happened is that the lawyer of Elias Mokwana has reported that, hey guys, so on Friday, we talked to the representatives from the other side, that is Esperance de Tunis, and they were like, we are very sorry that you have not paid the player, so we have sorted the issue out. So yeah, that's about it. Elias Mokwana has been paid his money on the other side from Esperance, which means they are no longer in breach of the contract, which now means he will not be leaving Esperance, which also means he will not be signing for Kaizer Chiefs. But that's not a problem, because on the things that we're going to talk about, the 4 things that you need to know, we're going to look at how this is actually such not a bad idea, right? It's not too bad of a thing. And I don't know how many of you guys saw the game from the weekend. How many of you watched the games from the weekend? What is happening? Kumalti stream? Yes, all of them. Facebook, all. Let me say send. Yeah. Yeah. So what, Denver? Let me just help you. Yeah. No. Yeah. Uzungu, forget it. It's been reported by reliable sources. Is not coming to Kaizer Chiefs. Now, let's talk about the things that are happening at Kaizer Chiefs, and some of those things may not sound very well for some people, but they are what they are. So let's start with the left back situation at Kaizer Chiefs right now. So what we have is 3 left backs. Né? That's just another thing, because a lot of people think Chiefs has 2 left backs, which is Bradley Cross and Ubongani Sam, both whom we bought this June transfer window, June to July transfer window. This time around it was up to August. Even if he's not performing that great, he has not played bad or horrible, but it doesn't seem like he has competition from Bongani Sam. And we saw a demonstration from this weekend. Now, get me when I say this. I'm not saying Bongani Sam sucks. I'm just saying the coaching staff did not select him. Like, in both the starting lineups, right? The starting lineup for the first game, it wasn't Bongani Sam. In fact, I'll read it to you. It was Bruce Vuma, Riff Frosler, Kevin Msimango, Zita Kwinika, Cross, Ox, Mart, Mdu, Mfundo, Potsane, and Dupree. He wasn't there, Bongani Sam. He was a reserve. But guess what happened? The person who was brought on for Bradley Cross was Happy Mashiane. It was not to Bradley. It was not to Bongani Sam. And I asked Utando here, and some of you who watched the game, please let me know, why was Mashiane taken off? Because I wasn't watching that game, because, well, they were not streaming it at the time. Did he get injured because he was taken off on the 80th minute and then Ubongani Sam came on? I don't know. For those of you who watched the game, please let us know, Guti, Why was Martiane taken off? Did he look like he was injured when he was taken off? But either way, even if they were taking him out for not performing, he still is a second option after Bradley Cross, and then Ubonganisem is a third option, which makes me go, that is very interesting, actually, because you sign a specialist left back from Pirates who has injury problems and he sits on the bench and is behind Happy Martiane. Now, two things could have happened here. The first one could be the fact that Martiane has upped his game, or Ubonganisem has been disappointing. Well, let me not say disappointing. It sounds like I'm being negative if I say that. But it's either Martiane stepped out his game or Ubonganisem has not been as good as Martiane. That's what I'm going to say, because at this point, for Martiane to be playing ahead of the left back was brought to play left back, then that says something. And we are going to talk about a lot of things, right? We're going to talk about a lot of things. So that's the first one. Left back hierarchy with Bradley Cross, with Happy Martiane, and number 3 with Ubonganisem. It's surprising to me too. But also, while we're talking about Happy Martiane, it's clear, and I've been saying this thing to people, and people were just thinking, you're just a plumber, whatnot. I said this thing to you guys, Uguti, Martiane at Kaizer Chiefs is not seen as a left back. I mean, as a winger, right? Because we saw him at times he was playing as a winger. But when Baxter, not even when Baxter came, when we're fighting, when Hunt was there, when we're fighting for the Champions League spot to get to the finals, look at where Martiane was playing. He wasn't being played as a left back. We're playing Uzulu as a left back at times. We're playing with Frostler in that position at times, and would play Uplom as a right back and then Frostler as a left back. But Martiane was not a left back. He wasn't like sitting in a back four for a left back, but it was Upilani Zulu playing in a wing back role, and then you'll find Martiane coming in, maybe playing as a right winger at times, and it was confusing to people because they were like, wait, is Martiane a winger now or a left winger? But after that, we saw that from that moment onwards, Zulu, after Zulu left and all of those guys left and new coaches came on, you realize that how Martiane is now being shifted back to the position that in the CAF Champions League he wasn't playing. Because from that idea by Kevin Hunt, we thought Martiane is not a left back because he's clearly not being played there. But I kept on saying, even after seeing him not being played as a left wing back or left back at the time, I was like, he is not a left back. I mean, he's not a winger. And here's my support for this, because even we DDC, the development team, I'll be reading your comments, guys, right now. Just share the stream in the meantime, and let me know your comments, and I will be reading them soon. But what I'm saying is, even at the time, it was clear that from development, Kaizer Chiefs, which is something that we've complained about, in their development, Chiefs they were playing in 3-5-2 at the time. And even when Utuba was playing alongside Shabalala, they were playing that kind of a system where Shabalala was coming in as a second striker, but he was also a 10, which is kind of a role that is playing right now. So when you come to the senior team, they are not playing a flat 3 at the back and then a 5 in midfield and then 2 up front. They are playing a back 4, which needs a left back. Now, since you need a left back, not a left winger, and Martiane was like a hybrid in the development, but the focus was more on going forward, but actually supposed to also know how to go backwards. Now it became a conundrum, because even Uzwane, we saw Uzwane, who coached him in development, he wasn't playing him as a left back, as a left winger. He actually brought him on for Uhlanti even when he was there. Right, which clearly indicates that the preferred position, or the position that they think is best at, is left back. And the main reason for that is he has a mad cross in him. But the problem with him, the reason why Hunt wasn't even playing him as a left wing back, is because of the fact that he cannot do just as good defensively. And because of his weaknesses in defense, he becomes a problem. Right? So he becomes like a player that the other teams would target. And now, because of that, he ends up being benched rather than playing as a left back or as a left winger. I hope you guys get what I'm saying. So he comes from a system where he played as a left wing back, but in the senior team, there's no left wing back. There's only left back or left winger, and he can't fit. Because if you're a left winger, you need to have all of those other things like the dribbling, the speed, and Martian is not the quickest. But if you're a left back, you must also know how to defend. So he's in the middle. But even though he's in the middle, he's still better than Usem somehow. Like the video and subscribe to the channel depending on where you are watching. Now let's talk about the second thing that I learned from this weekend. It's the fact that Ox Mthethwa, lockdown. Usibongiseni Mthethwa played both the games, and in the first game he was substituted. He wasn't substituted at all. In the second game, he was substituted, I think, let me confirm. Game 2, he was substituted. Why can't I see? I wrote it down. On the 77th minute. So he played both games. But here's an amazing thing that you might have missed in the second game especially. He wasn't playing with someone else as a 6. It was just him, and then in front of him it was Ungobo and Umdu Shabalala. And I find it very interesting because the fact that the coaches decided to play a single pivot against the Sundowns, because say whatever you want to say, that was not a weak Sundowns team. They still had Allende, they still had Ripero, Abo Salsh, Saleh, whatever. They are players who they've played in serious matches. So you cannot tell me that Ripero all of a sudden is a youngster. Get out of here. So the fact that they trusted Ox to play as a single pivot until they brought Onumart on the 55th minute where Sundowns had adjusted and they were seeing how to try and manipulate the fact that he was playing with two players, especially Umshini, who's not that good defensively. But still, it doesn't overlook the fact that he still played as a single pivot. And that experiment, you remember that picture I posted? Okay, I posted a picture where Kaizer was talking to Ngobo no Umshini, no Ox, as if he was telling him, hey, your job is to make sure you cover the ground that he leaves behind. So I am very interested to see that Ox is actually being looked at, and there might be a position for him at Kaizer Chiefs after all, and he might be able to play that role on his own. So we shouldn't close the door yet on his career at Kaizer Chiefs, because there might still be a comeback of Sibongiseni Mthethwa at Kaizer Chiefs. Let me read number 3, which is the fact that also, before I go to number 3, number 2 is also, I did talk about the fact that they played Umdu Nomshini, which means Chiefs are open to playing a different system than just always playing a 4-2-3-1. I find that interesting because I don't think Kaizer just decided, I'm going to play a 4-3-3 with a single pivot. I think there was a conversation with Unabi before they even left Johannesburg. So I think I find that very interesting. I don't know what you guys think about that. You are going to tell me. Let me continue reading, finishing up. Utuba is also seen as a winger. And I say this because it's related to point number 4. Utuba is being converted into a winger. Ne? Uluyanda is saying, nihlala nithethe English, because not everyone speaks Xhosa or Zulu. I am Zulu, ngiyakwazi ukukhuluma Zulu, but there are people who cannot speak Zulu here. There are people who are from Limpopo, there are people who are from Namibia. So we can't just speak one language. Guys, I thought we know this by now. We don't do that anymore. But anyways, so the whole thing is Utuba is a person that I've been seeing and thinking, if Ranga is not performing, then Tuba is gonna come on and play for him. But it seems like the coach is hell-bent on playing Utuba there. And I will just throw in on the side, by the way, the fact that in there, it seems like there's also a comeback of Pulemodi, because he started both games as well, which means they're looking at him as well. Because Usirino, as good as he is, we've talked about the fact that we cannot be depending on him game in, game out. So maybe we are also approaching that place whereby we are not depending on Sirino to do everything. So I guess that is very good. So that's just one thing. But also the last thing that I want to talk about, that I observe personally, is the fact that Ranga Chivaviro's days at Chiefs are numbered. And I'm not saying this in a negative way towards him, because here's the thing. I was reading a tweet by Utatish and he nailed it. He said that the biggest thing about Uranga is not the fact that he misses. Ne? And you remember me, you know guys, I've said this countless times on this platform. I've said it that for me, with Ranga, I wasn't even looking for him to score every single game. But the things that it does, the movements, the hold-up play, especially given the beginning of the season, how I was holding up play and bringing Inabum into playing, I was happy with that. I was not just looking towards his goals and all of that stuff. I was happy with the other things that he was doing for the team. I was also very much acknowledging the fact that he misses chances, right? I did say that, right? Problem is his attitude. And I said this the other time. You know, when I turned on Ranga, when he scored and he did this, was it this or was it? Yeah, he did this. I didn't like that. And I realized that this player has a bad attitude. Né? Because for me, you can miss chances, you can do this, you can do that. I will understand. Guys, we are human beings, mistakes happen, you can miss a chance. And I understood that. But now the problem is his body language. Utatish was saying that every player can miss a chance. We played football, we know this, you can miss a chance. But that does not mean you are now a horrible player. I mean, Messi, the best player in the world. Even if you regard Ronaldo, because we're not trying to have an argument here. Whether you regard Messi or Ronaldo as the best players in the world, Messi missed the penalty against Chile that cost Argentina Copa America. I think it was in 2016. To a point that he ended up retiring from national team duty. Ronaldo has missed some big chances. He's been criticized for doing certain things at Madrid, at Juventus, at Man United, wherever. These are the best top elite players. They still make mistakes. But the thing is, the attitude after doing that, what do they do after that? Yabo Uranga, since attitude yakhe has already said, "Bangitagelwa laba." I'm sorry for the language, but it seems like he has just said, "Bangsanganela laba, bangsanganela laba, bang criticizer," and all of that. Utupri uyageja, but he stands up, abambi ikhanda and whatever. Uzoljaga futhi bola catch. Utupri will miss 5 clear chances and score the 6th one. And then he will celebrate with the fans. So the attitude Karanga is also getting him down, because now he's continuing to miss chances, and it's just feeding into each other. The more chances he misses, the worse he performs. So it's unfortunate for him, but I don't think it's unfortunate. I think he needs to fix his attitude. Now, I'm done with this and I'm now reading your comments. Denver saying, can you also address the Zungu issue? Does this mean he's no longer a free agent? I don't think he still wants to stay. Oh, Elias Mokwana, it doesn't matter whether he wants to stay or not. Since his club is no longer in breach of contract, they've paid him his money. That means he's staying at Esperance. Whether he wants to stay or not, he doesn't have grounds to terminate his contract. So he's staying whether he likes it or not. And they are kind of playing him. So, Banda is saying, Petolo is saying, let's talk about Oximteto. I've already covered that. Denver is saying, thank you. Zungu is not a Kaizer Chiefs material. Banda saying, hola. Uplay is saying, Eges Katela Maketla. Ubetu Apmansin. Utlu is saying, Kaizer Chiefs needs Mokwana, Police, and the young right back, whom Cape Town Spurs won't renew his contract in January. High priority to deadly strikers and dynamic dribbling wizard. Samson is saying Sam is injured, but he played. That is my thing. He played in the first game for the last 10 minutes, and on top of that, he's not injured. Sam is not injured, I can tell you now. And in the second game against Sundowns, he was sitting on the bench. So he's not injured to Sam. He's there. That's for sure. Utwa on Facebook is asking me, Tebo Hopotsane and Tum Tanzane's performance. I won't lie to you. I watched the final 30 minutes of the game, and you know, the angle as well, I couldn't see some players who was who in the zoo. So I was observing from a psychological point of view, looking at the starting 11 and who was changed and when they were changed and how long they played. But there is no, as you have heard me talk, I've not drilled into how each player performed, but I just talked about what and where they were fitting, and where, like in those minutes that I watched the games, how I saw them being placed, not necessarily how they were performing on that game. Sengikhulumile user lapha ku TikTok, user 06607, Ranga as attitude stinks. You are right, my brother. Utafiti Utando, I say he must stop missing chances. Wetando, you ended up not answering my question. I'm still waiting for that message. Yoguti, what is happening with the thingy with Mashian? I still don't know why it was taken off. Aumaka is saying he won't win the fight. He picks with the fence. That is true. Umandla and I was saying we don't need Ranga anymore. I think yes, I mean, I will tell you something I know about fans. Ne? Uranga, if he can just come back like against Royal 27th and the 30th, Polokwane City 5th, I think we're playing Galaxy. Comes back, he scores 3 goals. A goal, and he doesn't do this. Akore and do nothing. You get me? He must just score and say nothing. Like, not do this, just behave with his teammates, even if he doesn't celebrate with us. But don't provoke us. That's all we're asking for. Because the more you provoke, the more people are going to push back. And the more they push back, he's going to try to push back. And it's not going to help him. So, you are right, my brother. His thingy, the war that is picking, is not going to win. Samson is saying, Mashane is proving me wrong lately. This is what I was saying. The other thing about these players, gents, you must realize it's all about the coaching. So now that the coaching has improved, our syndicate is asking me, do you think we can get Elias Mokwana? Mokwana, I've already said it. He's been paid his money by his club, so he's staying. Let me call you. Okay, all right, Tand. I'll be waiting for you. Uzulupo is asking, where is George Matlow? That one is still recovering from an injury. No, he didn't play. Utogozan is asking me if he played. Ngobo needs to pick up form. He is such a good player and must take his spot in that midfield. Thank you for reminding me. I had 5 things and I kept on asking myself, what is the 5th thing? Now I remember. I'm sure you guys have already seen the goal that Ngobo scored in that game. It was a typical Castillo goal, except that it wasn't in the air, because Castillo usually arrives late and then he heads or does whatever. But Ngobo, it was a cutback and he came on and he just hit it first time. Now, what I learned from that goal, it was 5 minutes after he came on. What I learned and liked about it is the fact that he was making a late run from the midfield into the box, which made me go, that's beautiful, because one thing that we've been complaining about our midfielders is the fact that one, you have Ox, who kind of is just a defensive midfielder. You have Mart, who's more of an 8 box to box. You had Umtu, who's a 10, who's not usually making runs into the box. The runs that it does make are runs behind the defenders when the ball is played over in transition. Even if you watch the goal that it did score for Chiefs the other time, it was that type of a goal. But the ones where someone is waiting for a cutback, the person who's been doing that has been mainly Castillo, who we've lost to injury. But now that we have a 10 who measures his running as a main shot. We remember the last goal that he scored for Chiefs was against Richards Bay when we beat them 1-0. He also took a shot outside the box, and it was a beautiful shot as well. So I think that we are in that situation whereby we can say Umshini can definitely solve a lot of problems for us. Sosman is saying Cedric Kaizer clarify the situation of Bongansem. He said they want to ease him to the lineup because he was coming from an injury. I get that, ne? But my thing is, how long has he been injured? Because he came back from an injury before Solomons came back from an injury, before Potsane came back from an injury, and Potsane got injured again, and Tanzania and I came back from an injury, and yet those guys, they also did play. Potsane played twice in that game. Now he's coming from back-to-back injuries, but he was given enough minutes, so that makes me get very interested. And Ukatleho is asking the same question. Do you think Potsane can get minutes? He can, because right now, remember, with all due respect to Mfundo Vilakazi, he's a very good right winger, but there's still that whole thing the Chiefs is trying to do. They are trying to balance between having the youth and having the developed players. So Potsane is an experienced player, but Umtu is already there. You have Usamgelo Zwane also playing in midfield. So we're like, okay, we already have two youngsters. If we add another one, we're going to have a problem. So Potsane definitely has that position if he wants to take it, because right now that position belongs to Duba in a way, but you know, Duba now saying Sating experience, and we cannot put all the pressure on them. Again, Ningizwe, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying the young players suck. I'm just saying at times it's not fair to put all the pressure on them. So that's what I'm saying. Uowe Tulapak Facebook is saying, does Kaizer Chiefs going to buy a Polokwane striker? No, we have not heard anything like that. Autokolo is saying Ox looked hungry. Utenva is saying, can you also have comments about on how Tebogo Potsane and Tum Tanzano? I've already answered that. Atenkos is saying, I need Nabi to talk to Rang again. Motivation is very low. Yeah, I think he just needs to talk to Kingston Kata 1v1 and be told, listen, boy, you still have a contract with the Chiefs and you better play nice with these people because these men are mad. Talking about us, Njal. Kulegan is saying, I like the fact that Chiefs takes every game serious, and the thing is, we are stronger and better. We are getting stronger and better. That is true. Saying Pendulile Ega Odekat Mcheli Umachigetus is saying, I was signing Mokwana. Nope, we are not. Unati Tangu saying, that's a paragraph. Chiefs should consider signing these quality players before the big three, name Sundown, Supersport, Orlando Pirates. What do you think? Apollis will try to sign him. The person did not want to sell him. Mokwana is staying in his team. Pasadine will also try to sign him. We couldn't. Faisal Salum is 22 million. Jaden Adams, even Sundowns couldn't pay the money that was wanted there. Stanley Nwabali and Goss, I don't know, Supersport United and selling to Chiefs. And we just signed a goalkeeper. Lepasa, I'm sorry, it feels like I'm dunking on every player you are giving me. But Lepasa has injury problems. Right now, we are complaining about Bongani Sem and how many injuries he has. So, if we sign Lepasa, so pinda lima le foot. Samgelo Zwane to Stellenbosch, Uramashu from DDC to PSL clubs for experience. I agree with you there. Antuari, he's average, but he has room to improve. Udove release, I think that's going to happen. And then Uti release Mashiane, Matlo, Potsane, Saile, and Kwinika. Utakan is saying, what's up with Solomons? Is Kaizer Chiefs keeping him or what? They are keeping him. He's still a Kaizer Chiefs player pretty much. Uktina is saying Ranga is costing us, and Nabi still believe in him, but I think Dupriz is better than him. I think this is a debate that we had a long time ago regarding Uranga no Dupree. And we said that thank you to everyone, by the way, who's giving coins over there on TikTok, and thanks to everyone who's liking the video there by YouTube and Facebook and your comments. I appreciate that. Ranga and Dupree. So we have two things, ne? So if you haven't noticed, Chiefs plays basically in all the phases of play. So for those of you, well, you're smart enough, but I'm going to explain it in any case because some people don't know. So you have the in-position phase, which Kaizer Chiefs are on the ball when we just have the ball and we're trying to build up from the back. Part of the reasons why we signed Ouattara is because when we're building up from the back, he helps, it becomes part of the back three, we can build the ball up from the back. You have Samgelo Zwane dropping into defense, trying to help them build up. You have Uplom, Omar, whoever dropping in to help in building up from the back. That's us. And then Abum do coming, dropping as well to collect the ball, and then we are drawing the team to press us, and then there's space in midfield. That's where we find Sereno. Go look at the highlights of Chiefs against Amazulu. In fact, go look at all the goals that we've scored so far this season. We always somehow generate space because we move and we draw opponents closer to us, and then we start playing in the spaces that they leave. So that's the first situation when we're on the ball. But there's also the thing that we're doing right now, another phase or another way that we want to attack, which is playing in counters or just playing direct from the goal and not building out from the back. And that's where you need the big frame of Uranga Chivaviro. And what it does is if the ball comes to him, he plays it down and then we start attacking. And you'll see Miguel in the game that won 4-0 against SuperSport United. He actually played the role of Ranga because Uranga was not around there, because the ball was played long from the goalkeeper. Miguel headed the ball down, and then we ended up playing the ball, and then we chipped the ball over, and then Utupri had the 1v1 with the keeper, and then he scored. So Uranga, or a player of Ephraim Garanga, has a place at Kaizer Chiefs. You get me? So the reason why you see the coach still believing in him is because he knows that he has a place for him. That's number one. Right? So number two is the fact that Utupri is more of a run into space kind of a player. And it becomes useful like in games against Sundowns. Right? Because they are going to play high line. But if you are playing against a team that we are trying to break down, like Abo SuperSport, they're just gonna sit deep. They're not gonna do anything. They're not gonna try and press you. They're just gonna sit. So now you have to break them, and then Utupri, he becomes nullified in games like that. So that's another thing that becomes a problem, Guti. If you're going to ask a player like Uranga, or say Uranga is not fit, is useless to Chiefs, or even a player like him is not good enough, then you are going to have a problem. So Ura to Katle Homaiti to Pris on the wing, Ranga is a striker. That is true. There's also that thing very much. Let me see another comment. I will be reading a few more comments because we've gone over time. My producer is saying I must stop the show. There's no producer. I'm lying. Usna Temba is saying, how do you rate Umtanzane? Umtanzane is his direct competition to me would be, let me rank the 10s that we have, right? Based on what Kaizer Chiefs try to do, energy in the press, a 10 who's going to be very good in transition, a 10 who's going to have a pass as well, but a 10 who's also willing to run back and forward. Shabalala owns that position because he meets all the things that you see the coach trying to get from his 10, because that's exactly what he wants him to do. But when it comes to keeping the ball and the ability to also see the pass without putting so much energy, then you have the second category, which is Mtanzane and Umshini, because Umshini will play the ball here, and then a jigger now a manch, and then he finds a pass. But Umshini can also shoot outside the box. I've not seen Umtanzane do that mostly for Chiefs. We've had bad coaches. So I rate him third after the two, because I'm not counting Usirino as a 10, because he's a second 10, because he starts as a winger and he inverts into midfield. So when I'm just counting 10s, pure 10s, I'm counting only those three players, and I rate him behind the other two guys, unfortunately. But because of experience, he might edge Umshini, he might even edge Umtu if he really does work hard. I hope that makes sense, right? Because it's also difficult for me. If you have a team that just needs a 10 who's just gonna be creative, then Umtanzane no are ahead of who's this kid, Ushabalal. But when it comes to what the structure of Chiefs demands under Nazruddin Nabi, then Shabalala is definitely ahead of them. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I will be seeing you tomorrow with another video. So just stay tuned every weekday, well, Monday to Wednesdays, around this time, we will be doing my live streams. And I'm still trying to sort out the thing of making people join, because Streamlabs uyangibhedela lana, it's not working well enough. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. I will see you tomorrow, and yeah, bye bye, ikosi.